Welcome back. Well, let's update you on the political drama we've seen today. The ANC leaving the COSATU conference in Midrand and KwaZulu-Natal. The ANC there saying it's going to support Dr. William Kize for the position of ANC leader. Paul Mashatile as deputy. They want Stanley Matabata as chair. Mvula Mokonyane as deputy secretary general. But the drama in KZN getting an early start with a late night statement by the former president Jacob Zuma saying he believed the best candidate for ANC leader was Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma. Then he said he himself was available for the position of ANC chair if he was nominated. Dr. Fikile Vilakazi is a lecturer in public policy and political science at UKZN. Dr. Vilakazi, good afternoon to you. For former President Jacob Zuma to say he wants to be ANC chair, Gwede Mantashe described it as the joke of the year. Do you think anyone's laughing?
Good afternoon, Stephen, and to viewers at home. The former President Jacob Zuma really likes comedy, but it's actually not funny because this is about people's lives. This is about our livelihoods. This is about the nation's trust. It's about the nation's development. We should be crying actually instead of laughing. So it is a joke of the year, but also an indictment of our century, really. To see this kind of thing repeating itself and happening itself, unabated, Stephen. We should be angered by it. We should be annoyed deeply as citizens that former President Jacob Zuma would rise up in the morning and say a statement like that is available to stand as national chairperson, in the midst of everything else that is happening in the nation against his name. That is absolute disgust. It's something that we should really be deeply troubled about as a nation. What is going on in our politics? This is not comedy. This is real life issues. These are, it's a matter of life and death for some of us. Poverty is deepening itself. Unemployment is deepening itself. People are dying from hunger and starvation and destitution whilst we play politics and do comedy.
It's interesting that Zuma made this pronouncement, and just a few hours later, the KwaZulu-Natal ANC basically ignored him. I mean, he said he wanted Dlamini Zuma. They said, no, we're going for William Kize. Could this be a moment that's really the end? It marks the end of Zuma's formal political power in our politics.
I think it is, for the fact that KZN did not put him, in the list that they've announced formally. That should tell us also that they are aware that it's an end of an era for the former President Jacob Zuma. And of course, they continue to respect him. I think KZN is a province that is constantly demonstrated support and respect for the former President Jacob Zuma amidst everything else. But I think they know very, very well, particularly this new leadership, that his era in politics has ended, which is why his name is not showing up in the list of candidates that are being thought of for the top 6.
And then they're backing William Kize. We all know about the digital vibe scandal. We've seen almost all of the other provinces saying that they'll nominate Ramaphosa. Do you think the ANC and KZN will find more support for Kize? Is there a risk they could find themselves isolated if they don't?
I don't think they will, and I think they know that. I think it's a strategic political move that is being done here. We know that the KZN leadership was in conversation with Mpumalanga and other provinces who are really saying to KZN, support us in the nomination of the current president, Cyril Ramaphosa, and Lamula as the presidency, and then we'll support you for other positions. So I don't think KZN will get support, at least from the other 5 provinces, for the candidacy of Dr. William Kize, given that scenario, even for the deputy presidency of Paul Mashatile. I think that they're just playing politics and they know that, which is why you would have heard from Umdolo saying KZN remains open to be persuaded otherwise in terms of the nominations that they're submitting. They will do whatever it is the best interest of the organization. And I think they will be persuaded differently when they get to the conference in December. Clearly, other provinces have demonstrated that.
It's very interesting to see what's happening in KZN because before an ANC conference, we all talk up the KwaZulu-Natal ANC's power because it has the highest number of branches and therefore has a sort of swing vote, if you like, in ANC politics. But if you look at election results and the last local government election results where the ANC got 45% in KwaZulu-Natal, I suppose the risk for the KwaZulu-Natal ANC could be this, the worst case scenario. You back Kize, no one else backs you, you're on your own. You want to scrap the step-aside rule, no one else backs you, you're on your own. This is just a scenario. And then, in 2 years' time, you lose control of KwaZulu-Natal In other words, we could be seeing the KwaZulu-Natal ANC as very powerful now. Is there a scenario in which in 2 years' time the whole situation changes?
You know, it's. I think we are heading towards coalitions, and we are heading also towards the end of an era for KwaZulu-Natal's influence within the politics of the African National Congress. And frankly, Stephen, what I foresee happening is exactly what you've outlined here. The fact that KwaZulu-Natal seems to be taking positionalities that are really not popular within the African National Congress, you know, at least within the ranks of the nation as well, around step aside, you know, certain candidates that they always stand up and support who are carrying this cloud of allegations. So they are obviously you know, creating this bad taste among citizens, but also amongst certain factions within the African National Congress. So we are likely to then see something that is different, I think, in the conference itself in relation to that isolation of KwaZulu-Natal as a province, but also a highly divided province, because you would see then when they experience that isolation being faced with the ballot in December, some of the people that are supporting President Cyril Ramaphosa here in the province are going to likely support the votership of the president. And those who are supporting Dlamini Zuma are probably going to divide the vote. So it's not just going to be isolation, but it's also fragmentation that KZN may be subjected to, and it may be humiliation as well, because we are talking about a province here that has stood the test of time in terms of keeping the ANC presidency and very good and powerful influential positions within the top six. And already by 2017, the ANC was showing that we are losing this kind of influence. And if they continue in this manner, you know, to say that we want to take step aside away. We want to support certain candidates that are carrying this cloud of allegations of corruption. They are likely to lose their foot completely in December within the African National Congress. And I anticipate, and my predictions is that the ANC is going to split. Stephen, I foresee that we are already having 2 or 3 ANCs now, and I think that come December, we are going to see that split deepening itself. And I suspect that we may have something called the New African National Congress, which is probably the faction that is saying, let us rebuild anew. Let us get rid of all the rot that we've got. And we may have the old ANC that would like to stick to the olden ways of doing things. You know, and the nation will then have to choose. I mean, the National Party did it, right? The National Party formed the new National Party under Ufan Skalkwyk, and now they have the Democratic Alliance, and they somehow regained the confidence of the nation. Who knows, the ANC is probably going to have to take that route come December, given the divisions in KwaZulu-Natal as an influential province, but also within the ANC itself.
It's interesting to see what could happen, because, I mean, you've also got situations where Mkhize has the digital vibe scandal. Nomvula Mokonyane, who has been nominated by several provinces, including KZN, for the position of Deputy Secretary General, has the PASASA payments, her testimony, and the allegations put to her at the Zondo Commission. And yet, wherever you go, South Africans talking about politics will talk about corruption and often talk about the ANC in the same breath. I don't know if the ANC is getting the message, frankly.
I don't think the ANC is getting the message, Stephen. I mean, the ANC is not getting any message. The ANC is not listening to itself. The ANC does not have an ear of conscience. It's an organization whose conscience is really died a couple of years ago, right? So we are having that trouble that whatever happens, I don't think that the ANC is that kind of a leader of the nation and of the people as it would like to be. It used to be. The ANC has let all of us, all the smaller parties that are fragmented, come from the ANC. So they are born of the ANC. You talk the EFF, you talk COPE, you talk even Inkatha Freedom Party. You know, these are political parties, the PAC, everyone comes from the ANC, but it's falling into pieces each time we go towards elections. So the ANC has died a slow death, and it continues to do that. Even the fragmentations that are becoming COPE, look at what's happening within COPE. So there are struggles politically, and the struggles are because there's lack of an ear for the conscience of the nation. There's a lack of an ear and a feeling of what actually what time is it in the nation? What time is it in South Africa? And it may be that, Stephen, it's an end of an era. The ANC has to accept that its mandate and its mission was to liberate this country from apartheid. There's a new cadre that needs to emerge and take South Africa into a place of economic freedom, perhaps. Political freedom has been attained. We need economic freedom in our lifetime. We do not know who that leader is going to be. People are saying the EFF is not ready to do that kind of work. It's preaching that gospel, but it comes from the ANC. The EFF, Julius Malema went to have coffee with the former President Jacob Zuma. He has never really told the nation what was that about. So there are those things, and the sooner we accept that, that times have changed, you need a different leadership. The sooner also as citizens of South Africa, we would need to rise and say, this is not just the responsibility of the ANC. This is not that even the responsibility of political parties. It is all our responsibility as citizens of this country to say, we either stand up now and rebuild this nation, or we watch it collapse into dust.
Dr. Fikile
And that is the
Vilakazi.
reality of what we're facing.
An important message, sir. Thank you. Dr. Fikile Vilakazi is lecturer in public policy and political science at the University of KwaZulu-Natal. So much to talk about.